In this video, we'll discuss how to automate refreshing a Domo dataset after a DBT Cloud run. Let's dive in. So we're going to start off inside of Shipyard for this one, and we're going to search for our DBT Cloud blueprints, and then we're going to click on our execute job blueprint. So this is going to start our DBT job. It's going to pop up with the authorization guide for you. So if this is your first time using DBT Cloud inside of Shipyard, it'd be great if you go through this authorization guide to kind of walk through the steps of finding the information that I'm about to input into this blueprint. So I'm going to close that for right now. Pull this up, and I'm going to name this execute DBT Cloud job. We need our service token for DBT, so I'm going to copy and paste that in. And our account ID and job ID we can find in the URL of DBT. So the account ID is right after accounts in the URL, and then the job ID is right after jobs in the URL. So you can see 24990 there. So there's our information to run our DBT Cloud job. So that's going to run that for us. So next we need to look for our DBT Cloud blueprints again and look for check run status. So the first vessel we set up is going to start the run, and this vessel is going to check to see when it finishes. So we're going to do check run status. And again, we're going to need that service token from DBT again. We're going to need our account ID, the same one from earlier. In run ID, we can leave blank since it's attached to an execute job upstream. So it's just going to grab that run ID from that first vessel. So that looks like it's good to go. So it's important to note for inside of Shipyard, for any vessel, you can set up notifications. So if it errors out, it'll send you an email. And then you can also set up guardrails, which are super important for these check run status vessels. So I'm going to set this to have unlimited retry, or 24 retries here, and then have no time between retries. So what that's going to do is it's going to go to DBT Cloud, see if it's done. If DBT Cloud isn't done yet, it's going to come back with a failure. And then it's not going to wait, and it's going to check again. It's just going to keep checking. I know this DBT Cloud job is going to finish pretty quickly, but if your job's going to take 30 minutes or so, you definitely don't want to set it up like this, and you want to maybe do 15 minutes between retries or even 30 minutes between retries to kind of hammer home when it's going to hit. So we're good there. So I'm going to connect those together. So last, we need to set up our Domo blueprint here. So we're going to refresh data set inside of Domo and pull that up. Again, there's our authorization guide for Domo. So refresh Domo data set here. And so for Domo, you can use an access token or an email and password. I'm going to use an email and password for this one. So there's our password. I'm going to grab my client ID here. I'm going to grab my secret. And again, all this information on where to find this stuff inside of Domo is going to be in that authorization guide. So if you don't know where these are, that's where you're going to find this information. So grab my Domo instance and my Domo, or my data set ID. So that looks like it's good to go. So kind of looking at our full finished fleet here. So we're going to have our first vessel is going to execute the DBT Cloud job. Whenever that's successful, it's then going to go and check when it finishes. And that might take 2 or 3 runs depending on how you have it set up. But whenever that's finished, whenever it's finished successfully, then it's going to go refresh that Domo data set for us. So the last thing we need to do here is name our fleet. So DBT Cloud to Domo. And then we can click Save and Finish on the bottom right-hand corner of our screen down here. This is going to take us to a page telling us that the fleet has been created successfully, as you see here. And we can click Run Your Fleet. So that's going to schedule this fleet to run immediately. Inside of Shipyard, we call this an on-demand run. So if you see that in our documentation anywhere or in any other videos that we make, that's what we're referring to. So anytime you're working with a fleet, no matter which tab any of these 4 tabs you're on, there's going to be this purple Run Now button on the top right-hand corner of your screen. That's going to kick off an on-demand run with whatever state your fleet's currently in. And so there's 2 other ways to start a fleet inside a Shipyard using our triggers tab here. We have a scheduling trigger that you can schedule based off of any time that you would like. And then we also have an API trigger where you can programmatically kick off these fleets if you have any other software that you would like to kick off the fleet run based on any other processes as well. So after you kick off an on-demand run or even a triggered run, you have the ability to go to the fleet log page, and it's going to give you a live vessel-by-vessel output of what's happening in your fleet run. So you can see our execute DBT Cloud job has already finished. I can click into that, and it's going to show you the inputs that we put in, as well as protecting all the password fields, so someone can't just look in your logs and look at those passwords. And then it also tells us that it kicked off job 24990 on that specific account. If I go back to my fleet log, you can see it failed the first time, so it went to DBT Cloud and asked if it was finished. It said no. And so now it's retrying again, so it switched back to yellow, and now it went back to red again, so that DBT Cloud job is still not finished just yet. And so then it's going to wait just a moment and it's going to kick off again. And again, going back to the guardrails earlier, depending on how long your DBT Cloud job generally takes. So you can see if I go to DBT Cloud, you can see that these generally take 43 seconds up to even a minute sometimes. So it's always good to kind of go looking at, at your last 5 or 6 DBT Cloud runs for that specific job. And you kind of want to nail that guardrail system kind of in that space somewhere. So if your job's going to take an hour, you definitely don't want this thing to be kicking off every 5 minutes, because that's just going to be giving failed runs over and over and over again, which you don't want. You definitely want to try to set it up so it's going to hammer home kind of right whenever it finishes correctly. So you can see it's kicking off for this 3rd time now. And so you can see that it should finish correctly this time, because this has ran for about 1.5 minutes, which is longer than our longest DBT Cloud run. So that's finished up. So it's going to start our 3rd vessel now. You can see that the Domo refresh. That vessel just started, so it should be kicking off that Domo refresh as we speak. So it's going to Domo and trying to refresh that for us. And you can see it just turned green, so that refresh has started. I can click into that again, and you can see that it says the stream refresh is successful there. So in this video, we talked about how you can automate refreshing or running a DBT Cloud job and then refreshing a Domo dataset as soon as it's over. If you have any questions about this solution or how you can use Shipyard in your organization, use the link in the description to set up a time to chat with our team of data experts. If you want to see more tutorials like this one, check out these related videos.